Welcome to PsychWSigmund, the podcast, where we delve into the fascinating world of psychology and explore the intricacies of the human mind. Today, we're going to discuss a fundamental concept in psychology, the psychology of identity and self-continuity. So, what is the psychology of identity and self-continuity? Simply put, it's the study of how we develop, maintain, and change our sense of self over time. This concept is crucial in understanding human thought, emotion, and behavior because it helps us understand how we form and revise our identities, which in turn influences our relationships, motivations, and overall well-being. The concept of identity has been debated by philosophers and psychologists for centuries, with ancient Greek philosophers like Plato and Aristotle discussing the nature of self and identity. However, the modern psychological study of identity began to take shape in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, with the work of psychologists like William James, Sigmund Freud, and Erik Erikson. One of the key theories that explains the psychology of identity and self-continuity is Erikson's psychosocial theory. According to Erikson, our sense of identity develops through a series of 8 stages, each characterized by a unique crisis or conflict that we must resolve in order to develop a healthy and cohesive sense of self. For example, during adolescence, we experience an identity versus myrias. Another important theory is the social identity theory, which suggests that our sense of self is closely tied to our group memberships and social relationships. This theory was developed by psychologists like Henri Tajfel and John Turner, who demonstrated that people tend to derive a sense of pride, belonging, and identity from their affiliations with various groups, such as sports teams, ethnic groups, or political parties. Research has shown that our sense of identity is not fixed, but rather it's dynamic and evolving. For instance, studies have found that people's self-concepts can change significantly over time due to factors like life experiences, social relationships, and cultural influences. Additionally, research on neuroplasticity has revealed that our brains are capable of reorganizing and adapting throughout our lives, which allows us to revise and update our sense of self as we encounter new experiences and challenges. But how does this concept apply to real-life situations? Imagine a person who has always identified as an athlete, but due to an injury, they're no longer able to participate in their sport. This can lead to an identity crisis, where the person struggles to come to terms with their new reality and redefine their sense of self. In this case, understanding the psychology of identity and self-continuity can help the individual navigate this transition by recognizing that their identity is not solely defined by their athletic role, but rather it's a complex and multifaceted construct that encompasses various aspects of their life. Therapeutic approaches like narrative therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy can also be effective in helping individuals develop a more positive and empowering sense of self. These therapies focus on helping people reauthor their personal stories, challenge negative thought patterns, and develop coping strategies to manage stress and adversity. Moreover, recent research has highlighted the importance of cultural and social factors in shaping our identities. For example, studies have found that individuals from collectivist cultures tend to prioritize group harmony and interdependence, whereas those from individualist cultures emphasize personal autonomy and self-expression. This underscores the need for a nuanced understanding of the psychology of identity and self-continuity that takes into account the diverse contexts in which we live. By embracing this complexity and uncertainty, we can cultivate a greater sense of curiosity, creativity, and resilience in the face of change. In fact, research has shown that people who are more open to new experiences and willing to revise their self-concepts tend to have higher levels of psychological well-being and life satisfaction. This suggests that embracing the fluidity of our identities can be a powerful tool for personal growth and development. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, may your ego find balance between pleasure and reality.